guys, before I get started, I just want to make sure that the sound is working here. So please let me know if you guys can hear me, and then I'll start, because I'm on the highway at the moment, and oh wow, look at this cloud, holy shnikes, man. Well, they told us a nor'easter's coming, but usually a nor'easter involves snow and wind, so I just see a lot of clouds. Alright guys, I'll wait for some people to show up here, and then I'll get started. Just let me know if you guys can hear me okay. Actually, I don't know if this is better. Maybe this is better to have. No. See, I got the moonroof, and it doesn't open. It's just a moonroof. It's not a sunroof. So, if you guys can hear me, let me know. Please respond. Write something in the comment section, or give a like. Just as a, blink once, blink twice. Blink twice, blink once for yes, blink twice for no. Anything, something. Bueller, Bueller, Bueller. If you guys can hear me, I'm assuming you can. Okay, check mark. Good, fantastic. Okay. Today, I would like to switch gears because, in the words of, I forget the name of the character from Blazing Saddles, I'm tired. Lilach Becherano Ben Atia. I'm assuming that you are Moroccan or some kind of Sephardi, like real Sephardi, not Mizrahi, like Spain or something like that. Not sure. Unless you are a different, same person and you change your name. In any event, I want to switch gears today because I'm tired. I'm tired of talking about the same topic, and frankly, it's exhausting. It's exhausting to, debate with people, argue with people. The whole thing's exhausting. Or just to think about it, because honestly, well, on a few levels. One is just a practical level. The other level is that something serious might be on the way, and I don't really want to think about that. Okay, so with that said, I want to talk to you guys about something that I was talking about before this whole thing came about, before the disease came about. The Jews of America. I now turn my gaze and turn my radar onto the Jews of America. My friends, last night, I just want to tell you, preface this. I've been watching the show Curb Your Enthusiasm since it came out. I think it came out in the year 2001, where they had one of the episodes was Larry sitting in the courtside seat at the Laker game and tripping Shaquille O'Neal. So that's how far back. That was, I think, one of the first episodes, the second, maybe the third episode. So that's how far back I go in terms of being a fan of the show Curb Your Enthusiasm. I actually was saying, something blasphemous. I remember back in the day, I was telling my father that I think that this show is better than Seinfeld itself, because that was one of my father's favorite shows. And he was saying no, and it's a very cringeworthy show, and this, like, he watched it, but he also thought it was very cringeworthy. So I said, it is, but I think it cuts, a lot of the themes of the show, if you guys notice, cut even deeper and go even deeper than some of the episodes of the Seinfeld show, right? Into the, I guess, human, what I call human inadequacy, or, kind of, passive aggressiveness and it's usually misunderstandings, I don't know what word to use, kind of a not give a damnness about the characters in the show. So, or lack of self-awareness, let's put it that way. But it cuts even deeper to that angle, you know what I'm saying? So, it's funny. I liked it, but I'll just tell you guys, and what I noticed, you know, the show went off the air for a few years because Larry basically said he wasn't going to do the show anymore. And then I guess enough people were kind of prodding him and poking him and coaxing him, and I guess he decided, okay. He decided he was going to bring it back. And in bringing it back, he basically decided to, you know, it was kind of in the theme of his own life where he was getting divorced from his real, you know, his real wife in real life. Lori David, I think her name is. And then, so basically he decided to kill off the character, or not kill off, but to have Larry divorce his wife on the show, which is Cheryl. It's ironic, actually. I want to say, to Larry's credit, in real life he married a Jewish woman. On the show, he's married to a non-Jewish woman. Intermarriage. Okay. I'll leave that aside. Interesting, right? So, he has Larry get divorced, and then Larry's by himself. He lives alone. And then he introduces the character of Leon. You know, the African-American gentleman who curses a lot, who's actually very funny. I happen to think he's hilarious, and I happen actually to think that now he's actually what holds the show together. It's one of those things. I think he basically decided to introduce a black Kramer, and I think he deliberately made him black because of what Michael Richards said and got in trouble for on stage. And he was like, you know what, I'm gonna make Kramer, not only gonna make a Kramer, I'm gonna make a black Kramer, and I'm having, instead of coming into the house every so often, I'm gonna have him live in the house, which is absolutely hilarious. So guys, last night I turned on the first episode of the newest season of Curb Your Enthusiasm, and honestly guys, I gotta say, for the first time ever in the history of the show, in terms of me watching the show, I couldn't sit through it. I didn't find it funny. I found certain moments funny, but the overall arc of the episode and the overall, I guess, just tone of the episode, I found it not funny. And I'll tell you guys why I found it not funny. You know, guys, if you talk to, I would say at least safely, 2/3 of, if not 3/4, maybe even more, of Jews in America today, and you talk to them, and you come to them, and you talk to them about Torah, mitzvot, you know, anything to do with Torah and mitzvahs, right? They will tell you that the people who are involved in this kind of stuff, like heavily, right, to the point where they keep halakha in its entirety, they will tell you that those people are like living in a bygone era. They are a throwback, they are like regressive, they are ancient, they're trying to live in ancient times, and this, that, and the other. This is what they'll tell you. You know, my friends, it's actually kind of ironic that they say that. It's very ironic that they say that, because when I look at people like Larry David, and in this first episode you had people like, you know, his friend Albert Brooks. I don't know if you guys know who Albert Brooks is. Albert Brooks, he had a lot of really good movies. He's a comedian or a comedic actor. He had a lot of really good movies in the 70s, 80s, and even 90s. Most recently, Albert Brooks does the voice of the father of Nemo in Finding Nemo. He's the father fish, right? If you guys watch Finding Nemo, so Albert Brooks is that voice of the dad, of Nemo's dad. And so he's in this episode, and then you have Larry, and then you have Larry's what's it called? You have Larry's best friend Jeff, he is also his manager, and you also have Jeff's kind of cantankerous wife Susie, who also curses at Larry and throws Larry out of the house and all this kind of stuff, right? For something that she did, and then blames Larry for that, right? So, my friends, in this episode, like, every so often you have a situation where basically Larry is depicting himself, right, or other Jewish men. All of them are Ashkenazi, Ashkenazi Jewish older men who are these like sniveling, geeky, like, and I hate to say, old and kind of just decrepit and deteriorating people. and it's just like this pervasive theme. And the irony, guys, is that these guys are actually, they're really paranoid about anti-Semitism. They'll jokingly call people anti-Semites. Albert Brooks' girlfriend, and she said something, not realizing it was an anti-Semitic comment, and so I think Larry or Albert Brooks called her an anti-Semite, right? So there was like those kind of moments. And the irony, my friends, is the non-Jew in this episode, John Hamm, there's a scene, I'll tell you guys just for the setting, there's a scene where basically Albert Brooks is staging his own funeral. Like, he's basically having a memoriam or a funeral for himself while he's alive. He says, why am I gonna, why do we always hear about people getting compliments at their funeral, but the person is not there to hear them? Why are people always saying nice things about dead people? Why can't I hear compliments about myself when I'm still alive? So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make a funeral. And it's a funeral that he's watching from another room, through a camera, through a CCTV, whatever it is. So then you have John Hamm, he comes there, right, this non-Jew, and he gets to the funeral, and he's doing the whole nine. He's rending his garment, and he comes up to Larry, and Larry's like, what is this? And he's like, yeah, man, this is like law, you gotta rend the garment, it's a custom, whatever. And Larry's like, oh man, you're going all Jewy on me. This Ashkenazi old Jew, decrepit, paranoid of anti-Semitism Jew is telling a non-Jew, a Gentile, oh man, you're going all Jewy on me. Like, and I'm just watching this, and I'm just like, my God, this is, my friends, this is so unbelievably sad. And then you had this moment where, Larry's, I think he was in Jeff's house or something like that, and he's sitting on the couch and he's got a glass of wine, and then Susie literally plops on the couch next to him, forcing Larry basically to jump up and spill his wine. And then he goes, well, you plopped, and then he's trying to get, help from his friends. He's like, Jeff, did she plop? And Jeff is just sitting there like, oh, I'm not going to say anything. He literally is like, he's like, don't expect me to say anything. Like, yeah, even if she did, I wouldn't say anything. Why would I say anything? And I'm looking at this, and I'm like, so you have this one Jewish guy, who's this old guy, and then afterwards in that same scene, he runs into like a screen door that he didn't, not a screen door, yeah, like a glass door. Couldn't tell it was glass. He thought it was an opening, and he just like runs into it and falls. And then his Asian girlfriend breaks up with him because he's like weak. He's old and he's weak and whatever, right? So, yeah, obviously he has an Asian girlfriend. I think they conducted studies that like in America, one of the most common, marriages you'll see is an Asian woman and a Jewish man. I don't know why that is, but that's the way it is, right? So this guy, in this particular thing, his Asian girlfriend breaks up with him, and then you have him. He's like the old man, and then everybody's telling him that that he needs to. Oh, and then like what's his name? Leon is like telling Jeff, yo, one more time he has a snafu, we're gonna send him to a nursing home. Even though Larry's like 74 years old, he's not like completely ancient, So they're telling him that, and then he's like this miserable, and then his friend is being like a doormat to his wife, which he has been for like pretty much the entire length of the entire series, right? From like start to finish. And then you have a situation where he's basically, what was another thing? There was another situation. See, I'm turning into one of these guys. There was basically like another thing where they were trying to show that he's he goes in to pitch a show to Netflix, which is actually funny because he's like on HBO. His show's on HBO, and then in the show he's going to pitch a show to Netflix about, it's called Young Larry, where Larry is trying to get his uncle gives him like a Yerusha, like an inheritance. So basically it's like young Larry is trying to get his uncle to pass away, and young Larry's driving a limousine. This is like in the 70s. Of like rich people, as he's trying to make it as a stand-up comedian. My friends, so it's all this kind of like Ashkenazi, Jewish, New York, geeky, Jew theme. My friends, and I'll tell you something. The irony is that these very Jews are going to come up to people like myself and say that I live in a bygone era with my halachas and my Torah. My friends, honestly, I don't live in a bygone era. These guys live in a bygone era. They live in the era of pickles and roast beef. They live in the era where, you know, their grandparents voted for the Democratic Party, you know, and they're still stuck on the Democratic plantation. They live in a bygone era. My friends, you know, I live in an era where I'm actually looking at the future. I'm looking at the world with Mashiach. I'm looking at the world with, you know, with no lies and only emet, only truth, no averas, no evil, no Yetzer Hara. My friends, that's the world I'm looking at. It just happens to be that the people who are pointing me to that world, to the future world, to a future Judaism, to a future, you know, where none of the crap that we see before us exists. The people who are pointing me to that future and how to find it and how to create it are people in the past. Are Hazal, are the Nevi'im, are the sages, are the philosophers. Whether it's, you know, the rabbis of the Gemara, of the Talmud, whether it's, you know, rabbis in the you know, Middle Ages, whether it's Maharal, whether it's Baal Shem Tov, whether it's, you know, the Tanya, Shlomo Zalman of the Adi, whether it's Lubavitcher, but my friends, all of these people from the past that I am following, right? I am following people from the past. They were all talking about the future. They were writing about the future. They were prescribing things for us to do to make the future better, to bring Mashiach. That's why I'm going back to them. Not because I'm a throwback, not because I want to live, and I definitely, if you guys can see how the way I dressed, I for sure don't want to live in a shtetl. I dafka don't. I don't want to wear a strimal. I don't want to wear black and white. I don't want to wear any of these things. You're absolutely right. That is, my friends, a bygone era, and whoever wants to wear that, okay. And they're, you know, so they're also stuck in their own special way. But my friends, I actually would rather be stuck like them than stuck like the guys who are deriding them, right? But that's a separate discussion. But apart from that, guys, I'm looking to the future, guys. I'm looking to the future. You know, I'll tell you, when I became Baal Tshuva, you know, it's funny. I noticed all the people around me who were keeping Torah and mitzvot, and I felt like we were going to the future, and the people who weren't joining us are mamish. They're literally stuck in the past, and they're telling us we're in the past. No, they're stuck in the past. They're stuck in their, you know, whatever, Katz's Deli and their pickles and their roast beef and their Democratic Party. My friends, I ain't on that plantation. I'm stuck on Mashiach. You're stuck on pickles and roast beef. I'm stuck on Mashiach. I'm stuck on the future. I'm stuck on, you know, a world where there are no lies. Ever. And you guys say, well, that's the world. My friends, can you imagine that there's going to be a world where there are no lies? That we see the emet all the time. Everything we look around, everywhere we look is emet. There are no lying politicians. There are no Fauci, Mousy. There are no other people. There are no Soros. There's no lies. There's no people telling us one thing and then we find out later it's another thing. My friends, there's no obfuscations. There's no cover-ups. There's no canceling. There's only the truth, even if it hurts like a bitch. My friends, that's the world we're seeking here. You can call us crazy. And I'm not trying to sound like John Lennon. No, it's not Imagine. I'm talking about, and that's he wasn't singing about that. He was singing about something else. He was singing about what he was talking about was Tower of Babel. He wanted a Tower of Babel. We're talking about just a world with Mashiach, where you look around and you see godliness in everything. You see Hashem everywhere. The hallmarks of Hashem, not the hallmarks of Satan, which is what we look around and we see today. That's all we see. You know, if we're astute enough to flip and see it. Okay? My friends, you know, which brings me to another point. You know, these people, you know, when you talk to them and they mention Trump, you know, another thing in this episode, he mentioned, oh man, they're talking about some guy named Don Jr. And he goes, man, that's another thing Trump did. He made every guy named Don Jr., you know, it's like a horrible reference. You don't want to be named Don Jr. My friends, if you come up to these Jews, these miserable old, what I would call regressive pickles and roast beef Jews, and you talk to them about all the things that Trump did for the Jewish people, for Israel, and even for America, they won't be able to understand you, my friends. Do you know why? Because these people live in the past. these people live in an era where they were in high school and they were bullied in high school, and they were what's called, what my friend Frank likes to call, the olive-skinned newcomer, right? If you guys ever watched the movie Karate Kid, well, Ralph Macchio comes to California from New Jersey, and then he starts being bullied by the blonde kid. And my friends, do you know what happened to that blonde kid? The actor's name is Zabka? Do you know what happened to that blonde kid? That blonde kid, if you guys watch the series Cobra Kai, which is basically the continuation of Karate Kid on YouTube, that blonde kid is now the good guy. And he owns a dojo, and he's the good guy, and he did tshuva. My friends, Donald Trump is that blonde kid, or in his case, Gingy kid from Karate Kid. The Chaz and the Chad and the Tad and the Brad from every 80s movie that you saw, who was the bully, or who was the frat bro, who did tshuva. And my friends, now that he did tshuva, he knows everything that the people around him did, and he was threatening to expose it, and they had to fight him tooth and nail, like, you know, come hella high water. They had to fight him to get him out, and they're still fighting him now that he's even out. And the irony is that they miss him at the same time, because their ratings were through the roof when he was around, right? But now that he's not around, now they're trying to bring other things like, I don't know, fear porn about a disease, so that their ratings will go through the roof. My friends, so you talk to these Jews and you try to tell them that, they can't understand that, because, you know, see, they're not, they don't understand tshuva, right? They don't understand that somebody is capable of tshuva, much less a person like Trump, right? So they still live in the past. They live in a regressive state. Again, my friends, I don't live in a regressive state, in a regressive state of being. I'm looking to the future, the era of Mashiach. Yes, the people in a bygone era who are, you know, my friends, you know how you know tzaddikim still live among us? Because when you're still talking about their writings and you're talking about all the things that they were saying even hundreds and thousands of years ago, these tzaddikim are still alive. You're talking about Shimon Bar Yochai, you're talking about the Maharal, you're talking about the Ramchal, the Ramban, you know, Shneur Zalman Gliadi, who wrote the Tanya. My friends, I look to all those people to guide me. That's who I look to. Yes, I look to the past so that I can know what to do for the future, and so that I know actually where my future is headed, my friends. And so I will tell you, again, at the risk of going to the topic I've been beating to death like a dead horse, not to be confused with horse medicine for, you know, ivermectin, okay? This whole situation that we're in, my friends, I related directly to what I just spoke about. I related directly to where we're headed. And right now, this is essentially a test of the emergency broadcast system. This is only a test, my friends. The emergency emunah system. And this is what we have to do. We have to work on our emunah in order to break through the situation. Or as my friend, you know, my friend Frank Zelenko likes to say, Shmelenko, the people on the other side of this, the Sitra Achra, or the people that are being led by the Sitra Achra, do you know who their shock troops are? You know, their SS? It's girls with blue hair. He goes, fighting them should not be terribly difficult. Okay? We are fighting girls with blue, my friends. You know, there's a comedian in UK, but he's actually a Russian Jew, Konstantin Kisin. And he wrote a tweet. He goes, man, I feel really sorry for people who have blue hair who aren't completely batshit, you know what, crazy. You know, it used to be blue hair was reserved for old ladies, you know, who colored their hair. And now you have these like so-called empowered women who are going to the marches, right? With blue hair, my friends. And I'm talking to all you American Jews, 75% of you, who are sitting with your roast beef and your pickles, okay? And watching your Larry David and your Woody Allen and your Jerry Seinfeld and pretending to support Israel. I want to tell you, you guys live in the past. I live in the future. It just looks like I live in the past because I'm just looking to the people very, very tapped in people in the past to guide me to the future. And I can tell you from looking around me that I would rather listen to them than listen to the people who are claiming to guide us today, because those people are guiding us into Gehenna. They are ruled and they're guided by the Satan, and they're taking us to Gehenna. And these people sure as heck are not following Hashem. And the most astounding thing to me is you have so-called Orthodox people who are following them and following the rabbis who are following them, okay? For one, God knows what cockamamie reason, okay? Instead of following Hashem and listening to their inner voice and tapping into the power of our tzaddikim and looking back at the ancients, my friend. This is what every indigenous culture around the world looks to. They look at the power of the ancients, Native Americans, African tribes, South American tribes. Anywhere you go, guys. You know, even you go to China, Japan, they look to the ancients, my friends. But they don't look to the ancients because they're living in the past. No, they want to look to the future, and the ancients guide them there, my friends. That's precisely the point. Instead of sitting in this very small window of time, namely the 1940s until the 90s, to guide your moral and political compass, my friends, which essentially renders you regressed. I hate to tell you. Anyway, guys, for those of you watching who I've addressed, I hope you take what I said into consideration. And the rest of you guys, keep on keeping on, keep hope alive, and I'll talk to you on the flip side.